Hello everybody, my name is Ronja Engarde, and welcome back for another Pokemon Platinum. In the last part, we started, we got Surf, and the whole world pretty much opened up to us, and got me feeling a little stressed. So in this part, I've just turned off all the music of the game and just turned on some background music, because I felt like, if this stresses me out, this in particular, maybe I should de-stress a little. Because, I do like playing video games. I like playing video games, or recording myself playing video games, more specifically. But there's just something about large areas opening up that just stresses me kind of the heck out, as it were. I was actually getting ready to record this episode, and I was just standing on the shore where I started the episode, listening to the music, and I was like, you know what? Listening to this makes me happy. I should just play this throughout the episode. Maybe the people that are listening can relax a little too. Let's just be relaxed together. There was a part of me that kind of felt like, what if I whispered during this? What if I did complete ASMR style? But I don't know. I don't really know if my voice is really configured for that. I don't know. That is something that I've thought about, actually, is what kind of style of recording is really natural for me. I'm not really one of those big personality types that, they're super hyper and fun and stuff. But then again, I'm not really a super duper calm voice and relaxing to listen to kind of person either. I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle, I suppose. I'm not super duper high energy, but still got a little pep in my step. I've actually been, when I've been listening back to my own videos, because that's kind of important to do if you're making videos, is to go through the videos yourself to figure out if there's something you're missing, or maybe you crawled yourself out and then you end up not putting in an edit, lame stuff like that. And when I've been listening back, it's been you know what, I actually do kind of enjoy listening to myself. Not in a narcissistic kind of way, I don't know. If I listen to myself with, as objective as I can be, with yourself, because I didn't feel like you can never be truly 100% objective with yourself, but with as close as I come, I can at least say that I personally enjoy listening, and I think as objective as I can come, and I think I have at least an okay voice to listen to for longer periods of time. You definitely have people that are okay, maybe not radio is the thing for you. I don't know, that sounds rude, and I don't mean it to be rude, but I suppose it's inherently rude to say that somebody's voice is not cut out to listen to. I don't know. not listen to at all, but I don't know how to dig myself out of this hole. Oh Lord. Yeah, I suppose I could talk a little bit more about it specifically, because been a little stressed out about stuff lately, so I thought that de-stressing a little bit today, specifically because this is a part of the game that stresses me out a lot. I think I talked about it too in the last episode, that whenever I get a long list of stuff that I can do in a video game, I get like, I don't know, not like straight up panicky, like that's a little extreme. I don't get that bad, but like there is a small part of me that like stresses about it a little bit, because I just want to do everything in a, well, not necessarily in order, but I just, you know, my inner perfectionist just wants to do everything. And then, you know, for example, now when you get surf, like boom, there's like 10 different things you can do of, you know, varying importance. Like you have small stuff like getting the Giga Drain TM, and then you have stuff like this, which is a little more, and you know, getting Thunderbolt and Fuego Ironworks and the whole L under Sand Gem Town. Like there's just so much, and you know, it's not like it's hard to do it. Like definitely, like there's like I can make a list in like 10 seconds, and like that wouldn't be hard. But it's just like all those, I guess I don't want to call them thoughts, because I feel like that puts a specific like the mindset out there. It's not like I get like intrusive thoughts or anything, but like when all those bullet points, I should say, more specifically, when those pop up, it's like, oh lord, all of a sudden there's so much to do. And like that doesn't just apply to video games too. I suppose that really applies to anything in life. Well, for me specifically, like when there's suddenly boom, a lot of bullet points appearing of like, I'm supposed to do this. It's like, oh lord, that's a lot of stuff. But and that is definitely something that I have to work with, because like, girl, I can't go through life feeling like that. That's just not okay, you know. But it is something that I'm taking one step at a time, and I suppose doing it like this is kind of a good way to do it, like quote unquote facing my fear, and not only doing that, but you know, doing it in a way that makes it better. You know, the thing that I'm doing now with no music and just, well, no in-game music, and just listening to some songs in the background. And even more so, what I'm doing also is just talking about it. Like, it's kind of amazing the amount of things you can solve by just talking about it. Like, not necessarily, you know, to a therapist or anything, but just talking either, you know, to yourself, or maybe to a family member or friend or loved one, whatever. And just, you know, put words on your feelings. Like, it doesn't have to be like a verbal essay or anything. Like, and it can just be, you know, because you always feel like you don't, like, what's the point of putting your words to your feeling? Because like, I already know what I'm feeling, and I already know what I'm thinking, so like, it kind of feels a little unnecessary to do it. But it's kind of amazing how much it can help just to, you know, talk about this kind of stuff. And again, that doesn't just apply to things that stress you out, but really anything. If you have a problem, what kind of feeling does that issue bring out of you? Like, do you feel sad? Do you feel angry? Or does it stress you out? Or whatever. And also, you know, if it's like 3 a.m. and you can't exactly, you know, call your mom at like 3 a.m. Well, I mean, you could if there was an emergency, but you know, you feel like, okay, maybe I'll wait to call my mom about my feelings because it's 3 a.m. One thing you can do, well, other than seek out strangers on the internet, which is probably not advisable, it's just writing it out. Like, that's something that I know that personally helps me, but it's something that I've heard works for a lot of other people too. It's just, writing your current thoughts and feelings. I mean, there's a reason that, so many people have, like, diaries and stuff. Well, I guess there's not just one reason for that. There's a lot of different reasons, but one of them is most likely that, putting your thoughts and feelings onto the paper is kind of has the same function as talking about them, except, you're just quote-unquote talking to yourself. But it's good. It's definitely good to be able to look back and read over them. Like, oh Lord, is this really how I felt that day? Like, is that really how much this specific thing affected me? Like, it's very good to have it written down so you can, reflect on it later. Sorry, they don't really mean for this to, turn into like a mental health podcast. But it is something that, mental health is really something that concerns everybody, like, not just people that are currently in a situation, but, like, you never know if something's gonna affect you. Like, it doesn't have to be like a big issue, like, it doesn't have to be like a diagnosable thing, but, like, it is a fact of life that, everybody gets sad, or everybody gets stressed out, everybody, like, feels all of these emotions, And, some people feel it a little more extremely than others. But I think it's probably one of those, like, made up statistics that aren't actually true, but, like, that a great deal of people will go through a period of depression sometime in their life. And I feel like when people hear depression, like, it conjures the image of, like, the very extreme types of depression. Because, like, depression is not just, one thing. It comes in many different forms. Like, some people have it a little more extreme than others, and some just have, there's, like, seasonal depressions, there's, like, post-event depression, like the whole thing that people talk about, like, post-con depression, for example, is an example of that. Like, something that is not lasting forever, and it's not like a straight up, like, thing you'll have to carry with you, but it is like it is a definite phenomenon. And I feel like that's not something that is talked about too much, sadly. That, like, depression doesn't have to be, like, the whole, like, oh, I'm so down deep in the rabbit hole that I'm popping pills and doing everything I can just to feel an emotion. Like, it doesn't have to be that serious. And I feel like maybe, like, that does make sense that people will, like, at one point in their life go through something like that, because things happen in your life. Like, some people have, like, a very rough time of it in their childhood. Like, I know for me, for example, like, I have had a pretty tough, like, teenage years from ages of, like, I don't know, 13 to present, pretty much. It has gotten easier, of course. Like, I'm not in a deep hole right now. But, it is definitely something that has affected me. But I see people that, they have a pretty easy first part of their life. Or, well, I suppose it's a little, demeaning to say easy, because, I mean, everybody goes through their own kind of shit, but nobody, well, not everybody, I should say, has, like, a whole event happen in their first part of their life. But then people go through like midlife crises. Some people, have like really messy breakups. Like you thought you found the love of your life, and all of a sudden, oh no, 5 years down the line, I found out that no, that wasn't the case. Like, there's like just so much stuff that can happen that affects you in ways you didn't really think about. Like imagine that. Like, you go through your life and everything is like not perfect, of course, but everything's like okay, and then all of a sudden you're thrust into like a situation you're not used to. Like, some people are just not used to feeling like real strong sadness, and if you're not prepared for that, that can really affect you. And I suppose just in general, I feel like I'm very happy that mental illness is getting talked about more like it is right now. Like, it is definitely in like a transitional period, because like now I feel like some people definitely take it a little out of hand. I don't know, with like everything's a mental illness, but I feel like we're definitely gonna come to a natural like middle where, like, I don't know. I definitely just want to live in a world where, you can admit to people that you have a mental illness, kind of like, like it's definitely a metaphor that's used a lot, and that is with the broken leg, in that like, it's the very like over-exaggerated, like, oh, you've broken your leg, why don't you just walk it off? Like, it's the whole people with depression getting told, like, what? Depression? What? Come on, just get over it. Like, that whole thing, like, oh, your leg is broken, just get over it. And I mean, I definitely, the keyword that I used earlier being, it is an over-exaggeration, because you can't really compare a broken leg to like a mental illness like depression, but it definitely paints like a picture that I hope can become more commonplace, that a mental illness, I mean, it is an illness. It is something that you get, like, not like an infectious disease or something, but it's something that can happen to pretty much anyone, and it's not something you just get over, quote unquote. Just trying to see if there's somebody that I could try with this. It's definitely not something that you get over, and it's also something that it's not something you should feel ashamed of. Like, any kind of mental illness is something you shouldn't feel ashamed of, ever. Because, like, pretty much all of the time, that shit ain't in your control. Like, you can't control if you get depression. And you can't control if you, get out of it. Like, I suppose you do to a certain degree. Like, if you purposefully shut yourself in and don't do anything about your problem, like, okay, sure. Like, it is hard to do stuff when you're like deep into it, but like, there's always something you can do. And I just realized that I could have thrown a quick ball. Oops. Like, even if you're in, well, maybe not deep depression, but one of the milder ones, there's always small things you can do, like, go for a walk, or, try to go to bed at semi-reasonable times, and, the small things. And again, not saying that you can cure depression with a good walk and a healthy sleep schedule, but, like, if you're trying, it is easier to break out of it, contra if you just lay there and don't do anything at all. Oh, I know. Cloud friend. Oh no, not in heaven. Oh. I need to fix that post-haste. Gosh, now I completely forgot what I was talking about. Something about... whatever. You know, something about depression, I don't know. Wait, let's check you out. Relax and natural cure. Not the worst, really. If something very unfortunate should happen to Smoothie, I guess we have her backup, because well, Altaria happens to be one of my favorite Pokemon, so, like, that's a plus. I suppose I was kind of done talking about the whole thing, because I don't want people to listen to this and be, like, super duper depressed or anything. Or I don't want you to be sad. Yeah, I suppose to finish up what I was saying, was that I just hope mental illness becomes more talked about and open, and, you know, people don't feel ashamed about that stuff. Like, that, and that goes not for, I suppose that I could piggyback off of that and talk about something else, is, I really, like, the worst thing I hear, like, that makes me, like, no, like, is people being, you know, ashamed about things that, you know, they're either born with, or it's just something that's part of them. Like, people, like, I don't know, that are ashamed of being a redhead or something like that. Like, that makes me so sad. Like, no, I won't, like, I just want people to be happy about, you know, who they are, and, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, I know that it can be hard. Like, I just speaking from my own personal experience, sure, I'd love to be, you know, tinier, and I would love to be all of these different things. Like, I've definitely had, like, a whole like, sadness over the fact that I was, you know, like, I grew up to be, like, I think I'm about, like, 6'4" about, and I'm generally, like, really, I feel like I'm built like a brick outhouse. Which I definitely didn't like as a kid, and in general, I still have those pangs of, like, super. But I've come to accept the fact that I am, you know, 6'4" and generally built very masculine. Because, you know, as a kid, I was just looking at all the twinks and such, and, you know, like, that's one of the things that I really had to work, you know, with myself with, is that my entire life, well, ever since, like, I was, like, 12 or 13, all I wanted was for people to think that I was cute. Like, I didn't want people to think that I was, you know, handsome, or, I don't know, beautiful, whatever. The thing I wanted to be was cute. And that was just something I thought I couldn't be if I was tall, or I couldn't be if I was, you know, all these things. But it took me a long time to realize that, you know, cuteness is definitely not as objective as I think. Like, you don't gotta be a twink to be cute. Like, come on. Yeah, I'll keep you. And to be able to, like, look at myself and think that, you know what, I can be cute if I just want to. And I can have people think that as well. Like, I'm not some kind of lost cause or anything. And in general, I think that's something that people should, like, I'm not expecting people to just, you know, oh, I just realized that I'm the way I am, and that is perfect, whatever. Like, I know it's a lot more difficult than that, but, like, I just wish people just wouldn't feel ashamed of who they are. Or, well, specifically things that they cannot change. But I know that that's really difficult. Like, if you're, whatever, like, a guy and you're 5'8", I know that it's hard to tell yourself that, well, God, like, I just don't want to get in, like, I don't even want to mention it, because I just really dislike that, like, the whole, quote-unquote manlet thing. Like, oh, if you're not, God, what is it that they put as the cut-off point? Like, oh, if you're not 6 feet tall, then you're a manlet and you should feel terrible about yourself. Blah. Like, ugh. That is just terrible. And, like, especially coming from a person that wish I was shorter, like, that is, like, extra bad. Because, like, I wish I was your height. Like, and you feel bad about being shorter? You're like, come on. But I suppose that, you know, that is the whole, not bystander, really, but, like, the grass is greener kind of thing. Yeah, that's really it. That, you know, you always wish that you had something better, or you were better, or you know, all these things. Like, it's the whole thing about, like, people will never be satisfied. Like, even if we got everything we wanted, we still wouldn't be satisfied. I don't know. Yeah, it all comes back to the fact that I wish, yeah, I suppose, especially height shaming is just so, height shaming is so low. Wow. I almost literally just said that, unironically. But no, it is pretty shitty. Like, I'm not advocating any kind of shaming, like, at all. But I feel like, I don't know. I'm kind of treading lightly, because there is the whole thing about, like, because you see sometimes women being like, oh, I don't want to date a guy that's shorter than arbitrary cutoff point, which, you know, that is just terrible. And, you know, I get that, you know, preferences exist, like, of course, like, just, again, speaking from personal experience, I would prefer to date a guy that's taller than me, or at least, well, taller than me is gonna be pretty fucking hard to find. But, somebody that's about equal to my height, but that is not something I'm, like, toting, because I wouldn't care if I found, like, the quote-unquote perfect guy, but he happened to be, like, what, 5'7" or something? Girl, I wouldn't care, because, like, it's nothing that's so important to me that I need to, like, put that into the world. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of things that are more important to me than height. But I just feel like the attitude that some people have about it is so shitty, like it's straight up in your profile. Like, the first fucking sentence is, if you're under 6 feet, don't even message me. No, I'm not one to advocate hatred or general negativity, but fuck you. That you deserve some kind of bad karma hitting you back, because that is such a shitty thing to say. Like, even if you do have a preference, which, again, you can't control things that you prefer. Like, completely get that. But that doesn't mean you get the right to just straight up, like, exclude and shame people, like that. I don't know. Like, I don't really know how you could go about that in a right way, because, again, some people just prefer people to be certain ways. I don't know. It's a whole big, complicated thing. All I know is that if you put stuff like that, like, because that's not, you know, having a preference. That is being an asshole towards everybody that's below 6 feet. Like, that is not saying, oh, that's not just saying, I should say, oh, I just want a person that's above 6 feet. That is, like, personally, like, giving a middle finger to everybody under 6 feet. Like, that is just not cool. Like, I don't know how you would go about it if not that way, but I just know that way is terrible. And it also, like, that is not exclusive to, like, the straight scene. Not just exclusively about height. Like, you have the whole no fats, no femmes, no Asians, which also is just disgusting that you would put something like that. Just highly legible, very obviously, like, at the top of your profile, no fats, no femmes, no Asians. How can you sleep at night? Like, if you don't want to engage in people that are fat or femme or Asian because they are not your personal preference, okay. But, like, yeah, again, I'm now just talking in circles, but you get my point, is that, you know, using that kind of language just does not sit right with me. Because I want to be as open and make people feel as good as I personally possibly can. Because, you know, I suppose that's just kind of the person I am. Which, it's sad that is a kind of person you can be. I feel like everybody should just be positive and good towards people. Lord. now I'm getting into kind of ranting again. Yeah, I suppose that is a thing that I could also talk about, is me, well, not me ranting in general, because I found out through making these Let's Play videos that I'm a lot more ranty than I thought I was. Like, I didn't think I was this kind of a ranty person, but apparently I have a lot of strong opinions about a lot of stuff. But it's specifically that I've ranted a lot about Pokemon Let's Go. Oh, excuse me. And as much as I don't really want to get, because I don't really want to get hyped about the game at all, because, like, again, I could probably make like a half-hour video talking about the things I don't like about it. But the thing is that not much is gonna get accomplished by me ranting about it, because, like, I don't know. The game is gonna come out and it's gonna get bought by millions of people, like, no matter what I do. So, really, all I can do is just be an onlooker. And, like, do I want to be an onlooker that's pissed off? Or do I want to be an onlooker that's actually, you know, trying to be happy about something? So I thought about it before, like, I was going to bed one day, and I thought about, what if I tried to talk about all the things that I actually like about Let's Go, as opposed to, you know, the stuff that I don't like. Because, like, no matter what, the game's gonna come out, and, like, all I can really hope for is that Game Freak listens at least a little bit, and, you know, don't include the things that I don't like in other games. Because, like, I can't, like, you know, I'm not some kind of multi-millionaire that can create a whole movement to stop the things I don't like. So, what else can I do? And you know, because the thing is that people are really up in their, yeah, they're really stressed out about Let's Go. Not because like, oh, Game Freak is releasing a game that's like subpar, because that's been happening a lot lately. No, they're worried about Let's Go not because of Let's Go itself necessarily, but because people are worried that that's gonna be, you know, a trend for later games. Like, we don't want the future games to follow the same path as Let's Go is currently going, because it's not looking too bright, really. Once again, I was trying to say something positive, and now I'm ending up, you know, being a whole doomsday kind of guy. But you know what? Let's try it. I'm gonna give it my all, and actually try to talk about something I would actually like about Let's Go. I suppose I like the fact that, you know, seeing Kanto with, you know, newer graphics, yeah, I suppose that's gonna be fun. Like, again, like, I can't really talk about it like without a lot of the negative things just popping up, because I suppose it looks colorful and bright and fun. I've heard the soundtrack is really good. I haven't personally listened to any songs from it, but apparently it's good. I don't mind the encounters being Go related, because I don't know. I suppose there were some people, you know, mentioning the fact that, you know what, Pokemon encounters, like not the battles, but just the wild encounters, are kind of bullshit. And I mean, I can't completely deny that. Like, it is, I feel like it's a special pleasure to, like, encounter a wild Pokemon and then, you know, thunder waving it and trying to whittle its health down and capturing that way. Like, that is something I hope never goes away. Like, yeah, that's the thing. Okay, if we assume that this game, well, these games technically, Let's Go, are only this, it's never gonna like, this is just like a, I don't know, Pokemon Troze in, like, well, I suppose that did reappear a lot. I don't know. Pokemon Dash, I don't know, because that never got a sequel. If we assume that this is just like a Pokemon Dash, like it's a one-time thing, it's not going to have any kind of, like, repercussions for the series as a whole, then I don't mind the Pokemon Go capturing mechanics, because, like, it's gonna be fun to, like, because I suppose, like, the capture mechanics in and of themselves are not really my cup of tea, but I actually like that the Pokemon are not, you know, just in the grass, quote unquote, like they're quote unquote invisible. They're actually visibly on the field. I do actually kind of like that, because that means that, like, the world feels a lot more alive. Not if only the world was a little bigger. But if the world was bigger, I think that this would actually be, like, that specifically would be very good. And then, you know, you have, gosh, what else? There were some things that I thought about that was kind of fun. Oh, actually, one thing that I kind of am looking forward to. I don't know how, I don't know, customizable, I suppose that's not entirely the correct word, but but like, can you breed in the game? Can you transfer in Pokemon from other? Like, I suppose it must be. You must be able to trade. I don't really know. I haven't really kept up, with the finer details of the game. But my hope is that you are able to breed, at the very least, and, trade over eggs like you have been able to do in past games. 'Cause I feel like Let's Go would be kind of perfect for a challenge run, like specifically like because the Let's Go games are gonna be so much easier. Because I mean, let's be real, the games look like they're gonna be pretty easy. That it's gonna be perfect for like even more fucked up challenge runs. Because like, if I'm able to beat Fire Red with only using status moves, only using not fully evolved Pokemon, imagine how much, the crazy shit we're gonna be able to accomplish in Let's Go, assuming we're able to quote-unquote customize it, as I say, with like breeding and egg moves and transferring over eggs, which, it could very well be that it's, so much like Generation 1 that, there's no breeding, there's no trading in. Well, if there's no breeding, there's no eggs, so like that would stop the whole thing right there. But if there is, there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff that I can do, which I'm actually looking forward to, because that's something that I like, is adjusting my craziness to what is allowed in the game. Like, for example, take Generation 6 as opposed to the games that came before it. As a difference from what came before it, in Generation 6 you have, the EXP share, which makes the games easier, and then you also have Pokemon Ami, which, you can just fully boost your Pokemon's affection, and then you have all these like crazy effects to give your your Pokemon can survive with 1 HP, it can heal itself of status conditions, like all of these crazy things. And like those two things are things that makes the games easier, makes things more broken. And if you, for example, just did a completely vanilla run, like there was no challenges added, no restrictions, like you weren't doing like a Nuzlocke or anything, like it's just straight up vanilla playthrough, it would get like pretty easy. Because like if you just have a fully evolved like team of like, I don't know, Charizard and the XY and a starter from X and Y, and the quote-unquote good Pokemon, it wouldn't be that hard. But because you gain all of these things that makes it easier, you're able to use Pokemon that aren't as good, which to me is very fun, because then you could have like a team of, I don't know, like Corsola and Smeargle, and the Pokemon that you normally wouldn't use because they're not really that good. And then because you have all of these things that help you, it means that you can actually, get a little crazier without making it impossible for yourself. Because if you try using really, really bad Pokemon in, like, I don't know, Generation 2, where there's really not a lot of stuff that, you can cheese the game with, it's a lot harder. But the more hand-holdy the game becomes, the crazier you can get, pretty much. But then you also have, like, because, like, for example, Generation 7, you have a lot of stuff that makes the game easier, but pretty much all of it you can, you know, quote unquote turn off. Like, you don't have to use Pokemon Refresh, you don't have to have the EXP share turned on, like all of these things. I don't really know what my point was, but it's just that, you know, you can make it pretty hard on yourself without using really bad Pokemon. Like, I like that you're able to customize your difficulty, kind of. Like, as long as you are good with self-imposed challenges, because I know that there are people that this, you know, self-imposed challenges, they don't work because, you know, okay, for example with Nuzlocke, oh no, I lost my Pokemon. Well, you know, I could just continue to use it. It's not like somebody's gonna strike me down if I don't. But just for someone like me who, you know, I don't mind sticking to my own rules, the self-imposed challenges works pretty well. So you're able to customize your difficulty a lot by, for example, using set battle style instead of switch, or not using the buffed EXP share, not using Pokemon Me or Pokemon Refresh, doing a Nuzlocke run, friggin' there was another big one, but now I can't remember it. Oh yeah, not using items in battle, like not using revives or full restores or anything like that in battle. Like, there's so much you can do, really. Like, there are people that are like, oh, I wish the difficulties, the hard mode of Black 2 would return in another game, which I definitely do want. Like, of course, definitely wouldn't mind if they reintroduced a challenge mode. But it's not something that I feel like is super duper necessary. Well, I don't know. I've not for a lot of reasons. Like, you know, it's not hard to make the game difficult for yourself, as I've already talked about. But there's yeah, the movesets of Pokemon, because that is something, even if you make the game harder for yourself, it's gonna get a little monotonous after a while, because, you know, when you start to play the Pokemon games as much as I do, kind of start to get a little bored, because like you start to remember what all the trainers have, and, you know, you already know how to play around them, because, you know, in vanilla Pokemon games, they don't really get too creative with the enemies. Like, for example, here, well, I don't know. I feel like Platinum is where they kind of, well, actually not. I would say the point where they started getting a little more creative with their movesets was in Pokemon Emerald, actually. Was where I feel like that really started, because just from the Emerald playthrough that I did, there was a lot of creative stuff happening. Like, there was like the Slack Off that had counter. There was a Spinda that had focus, but like there was a lot of like fun little things hidden everywhere. Stuff that, you know, because when you start to play a lot of Pokemon, you start to remember. For example, I was pretty sure that Azumarill was gonna have probably like Bubble Beam and Double Edge, because I sort of memorized the moveset of Azumarill, because usually in-game trainers, unless they are gym leaders, will only use the level up moveset of their Pokemon. So as long as you know the general movesets of all the Pokemon, it's not really too hard to predict what the opponent's gonna have. Like, for example, this Labunny is probably gonna have most likely Jump Kick, and also Quick Attack, maybe Return, and, you know, some kind of status moves that's not gonna do too much. I don't know. I feel like that's a bad example because I actually don't remember too much. Yeah, that's one status move. I don't know. I don't really know where. Well, yeah, because I would like a challenge mode, because the thing about the challenge mode in Black 2 is that they updated a lot of the trainers and especially the gym leaders with like more interesting Pokemon, and also they generally buffed the AI in the games as well. So they actually made it, a little harder because the opponent would actually pick good moves, like and generally like would use strategies, unlike a lot of the quote-unquote dumber trainers will just pretty much just randomly pick a move. Well, at least it feels like that sometimes. Nobody can learn that, okay. So I would definitely like to see a challenge mode, even though it's not too hard to make it hard on yourself. Lord. We're actually almost getting done with this, and I see that I've recorded for a long time, so, I mean, if we're still here, then, good on you, dude, for making it this far. And I feel like I don't feel too bad about making this a long part, because this is, just side stuff anyway, so, like, this is very much like a video that I feel like people shouldn't feel too bad about skipping, because there's nothing in here that's, quote-unquote, like, required viewing. I don't know. I don't like labeling any part of a Let's Play as filler, because, like, especially for my kind of videos, because I'm definitely, like, I don't know, more of a personality kind of Let's Player. I don't know. I don't really know how I would specifically label myself, but I feel like if there are people that are fans of me in the future, I don't feel like they're gonna watch too much for the gameplay, but probably gonna watch for, me, I suppose. I don't really like to get too high and mighty about that stuff. But I know that I don't really have, content that's too more exciting than any other person's content. So, well, if somebody were to return by process of elimination, then it's probably not gonna be for the gameplay then. But for me, I don't know. Getting all kinds of nervous and weird just thinking about it. I do wonder if we can fly back here. I don't actually know, because there are Pokemon for us to catch. You know what? I think I'm gonna hold off on capturing something here and have that as like a backup if we ever need it. Because right now we do have like a lot of Pokemon. Like we have enough Pokemon to fill up an entire box. So like it's not like we're in in big need of a lot of Pokemon. And I don't know. What's a big one of them? That should be it. I know there is something we can do in Ravaged Path up here. There's two items in particular. It's the Luck Incense and TMO3 Water Pulse. But girl, I don't care about that. But other than that, we have pretty much taken care of everything we can do with Surf across the entire region. As well as picking up 2 new Pokemon from Route 211 and Route 211 and Route 210. I know that this is also 211 and this is also 210, but I count these two as separate areas from the other two, so... Well, I suppose the only thing that's left for me to do is get ready for what we're gonna do next, which is getting over to Canalave for, you know, actual story progression. Lord. Sorry if this was a lot to sit through with you. I don't know. It's not like anybody's obligated to sit through, so I don't... So then I don't feel like it's necessary to apologize for anything, because, like, ain't nobody that's obligated to watch anything, so... I suppose all I can say is that I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, that's a good attitude to have. There seems some people I say, our good old teammates screw a couple levels here and there, so that's good. Well, I hope you had a nice, relaxing time, and hope to see you guys in the next time. Goodbye.